What's up, guys? In this video, I'll show you how I quickly model out a character for 3D games using Blender and then rig and animate it using Mixamo. Let's go. So if you haven't used Blender before, a few shortcut keys that'll be helpful are G to grab, S to scale, and R to rotate. You can also hit X, Y, or Z right after one of those keys to restrict the movement to a single axis. Now let's turn the default cube into a character we can use in a game. We'll start by going into edit mode using the drop down at the top. Next, we want to turn on X-ray mode so we can select the vertices in the front and back of our cube. Now, with everything selected, right-click and choose Merge Vertices at Center to turn our cube into a single vertex. Now we have a single point we can work from. With the point selected, go to the Modifier tab, click Add Modifier, go to Generate and choose Skin. This will give some volume to our point so we can see what we're doing. Then we can add a subdivision surface modifier to give the cube some additional geometry. Since we're working with a single vertex, we can't use the S key to scale the point. Instead, we can hit Ctrl and A to scale it up or down. Now we can use the Move tool and drag our vertex up to where we want our character's hips. We'll add a mirror modifier so we only have to work on one side of the character and the other side will automatically be generated for us. Make sure to drag this up to the top, above the other modifiers. Now, with the vertex selected, we can hit the E key to extrude and start to build out the shape of the hips and legs. You can use 1 and 3 on the number pad to jump to orthographic mode, which snaps to the front or side views. This will help us see the right angle for our feet without having to worry too much about dragging things along the wrong axis. Now click back up to the hip vertex and in the mirror modifier turn clipping on to make sure we extrude exactly in the middle. Now we can extrude this up to create the torso. Turn clipping back off and extrude again to create the base for the arms. Then turn clipping back on for a second to make the neck. Now we can hit 7 on the number pad to view from the top so we can work on the hands. Extrude to add another point for the hand and scale it down a little. Now from the central point in the hand, extrude out the thumb and 4 fingers. You can add points in the middle of the fingers with Ctrl R. You'll probably need to play with the size and position of each vertex here to get a hand that looks decent and doesn't have too many weird overlapping faces. Once you're happy with it, add a point for the wrist and scale it. Then add a point for the elbow and another for the shoulder. Now we have a frame for the body with 2 arms and hands. Next up, we can add some points to the legs and tweak them to make them have more leg-like shape. Then we'll do the same thing for the torso. You can eyeball it and make any other tweaks you'd like to get the body into the form you're going for. Now hit 1 on the number pad to go back into the front view and click the vertex on the neck. With clipping enabled on the mirror modifier, go ahead and extrude to add a couple of points to create space for the head. Then scale and position them to get something you like. Now we can make adjustments to our character's feet so they don't look quite so much like Tic Tacs. So now we have the base for our character. We can add a material to make it more interesting. Go back into object mode and with the character selected, click the globe icon to open up the materials tab. For this character, I'll set the base color to black. If you don't see any changes, make sure you have viewport mode set to shading and you should see the color on the model. Now I want to give this character a mask, so pop over into edit mode and hit 3 on the number pad to view the character from the side. With X-ray mode still enabled, select the character's head, then hit Shift and D to duplicate. Then, with it still selected, hit P and choose Selection to break it out into its own object. Now we can go back to object mode, right-click and select Set Origin and choose Origin to Geometry to position the origin in the center of the object. We can then drag this forward a little and scale it down some to create the shape of the mask. It's kind of tough to see, so we can head over to the Materials tab, remove the existing material and create a new one that's white. Now we'll want to cut out some eyes. For this, we'll use the Bool Tool add-on, so make sure you have this enabled under Preferences, Add-ons. Now we can go up to the top and add a mesh, choosing UV Sphere. We can scale and position the sphere to be where we want the eyes to appear. We'll add a subdivision surface modifier and a mirror modifier to duplicate the eye on the other side. On the mirror modifier, we need to tell it what object to mirror from, so click the eyedropper and then click the mask, you'll see the right eye appear on the other side of the face. Now we can apply the modifiers. While holding Shift, click the mask so that both the eyes and mask are selected, and hit Control and the minus key on the number pad. This will trigger the Bool tool to cut the eye shapes out of the mask. Now we can apply the Bool tool modifier to solidify the changes. We now have our character modeled and we're ready to rig and animate with Mixamo. To export the model so we can upload it to Mixamo, go to File, then Export and choose FBX. All you need selected here is Mesh, so we don't export the camera, lights, or anything else. And I usually like to select a visible object as well, in case I have anything hidden that I don't want exported with the model. Now we can pop over to Mixamo.com. You'll need an account, but it's free and only takes a second to set up. Once you're logged in, click Upload Character and select your FBX file. Mixamo will try to rig the model automatically. If you get an error, you probably have too many subdivisions on your model, so go back into Blender, reduce the number of subdivisions in your modifiers, and export it again. Now, when you upload the model to Mixamo, it will process it and bring up the auto rigger. Now drag the circles to the chin, wrist, elbows, knees, and groin, and click Next. Mixamo will use the settings to finalize the rig of your character. This can take a little while, so be patient. When it's done, you'll see a preview of how it will look. Click Next to load the character into the main view. Now you can select different animations on the left to apply to your character. Mixamo has loads of animations you can use. For walking and running animations, I usually like to let my game logic handle positioning, so I'll select the In Place checkbox to prevent the animation from including transforms that will move the character. When you found an animation you like, click Download to download an FBX. I've found it's generally best to include the skin to prevent any weirdness when applying the animations to a model in your game. Now you can export all the animations you'd like to use and import them into your game engine or back into Blender. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. That's all for now, and until next time, thanks so much for watching.